Hello out there, a very good evening to you and a warm welcome to News 360 live from our news hub here at Desawe in Accra. My name is Pa Kwesi Asare.
And I'm Natalie Fort. A look at the top stories this evening.
News 360 headlines is brought to you by Deluxipate, Heaven Black Mosquito Coil and Spray,
Calipo and Nido Fortigro, your love, their future.
I think it's important to Commission has as the hallmark of its operations the principles of fairness, integrity, and transparency.
Electorates in 6 proposed regions vote overwhelming yes to create the new regions.
Also ahead of the bulletin, Delali Kwesi Brimpong wins primaries to represent the opposition National Democratic Congress in the Yawaso West Worgon by-election.
Also ahead in Mission this evening, we tell you our pupils at Madagascar in Kweu-Afram Plains North District report late to school.
In business, the National Insurance Commission to introduce enhanced no-claims discounts for third-party insurance.
And on the international front this evening, President Trump threatens to shut Mexican border in demand for $5 billion to fund border wall.
We've got the very latest in this plus sports and international headlines, all coming up in the next 60 minutes.
Absolutely. You could watch this bulletin all across the world on 3news.com and TV3 Ghana on Facebook. Top on the news this evening. Let's start off by taking a listen to the Volta Regional Returning Officer of the Electoral Commission, Joseph Kodua, as he announced the results of the OT votes.
Threshold of 50% was 88.31%. Then a threshold of 80% was 98.64%. Ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I just want to express appreciation to you.
Sounds of jubilation there. Meanwhile, Minister of Regional Reorganization, Dan Botry, has expressed satisfaction with the conduct of the referendum to create 6 new regions. Speaking to my colleague Komla Kluche after the declaration of the OT vote results, the minister also dismissed assertions by residents of Akpafo they were not consulted in the process.
Well, the process has been smooth. It's been good. People have cooperated. We have worked together to achieve the results. For us as a government, the issue is not the yes or no. For us, it's following the constitutional process, creating the necessary platform, the linkages, and working together with all stakeholders to this stage. That is what we are satisfied with. I have said over and over again that ours was not a particular outcome, whether people voted yes or no. That is not for us as a government our assessment or that how we're going to be assessed. But the fact that we follow the constitutional process diligently and created the necessary platform for everybody and put the stakeholders together, and they were able to vote and express themselves. That is what we were looking for. So the success on the part of government is not the fact that everybody voted yes, no. But the fact that we're able to complete the process by the constitutional, using the constitutional process, and we have gotten to this stage.
Okay. Going forward, some people have raised concerns, for instance, in the areas of Akpafo in OT region, for instance, they said they were not consulted and all of that. Those issues that have come up. Going forward, how do you intend to bring all of them on board?
There's nothing like that. There's Mr. President, by the Constitution, Article 5(8), will have to give issue a constitutional instrument to give effect to the results. But it should be clear. The area that is called OT has been demarcated. It is in the areas that took part in this voting. So if you read the CI 109, all those districts and areas were shown. That place, Mr. President signs the give effect to the results is in OT region. Whether you were for it, whether we are not for it, it's OT. In that case, when Transvoter Togolab plebiscite was being held, do you know the results? People should go and check the results of Transvoter Togolab, the plebiscite in 1956. Not all people voted for it, but they are in Ghana.
Still on the creation of new regions, Chairperson of the Electoral Commission, Jean Mensah, has warned that no person would be shielded as investigations begin into the alleged malpractice during voting for the proposed 6 regions. Now, she was speaking at a press conference in Accra.
I think the attention of the Commission has been drawn to some videos circulating on social media alleging wrongdoing during the recent referendum. I think the Commission takes this seriously and has notified regional directors and the security agencies. I think it's important to emphasize that the Commission has as the hallmark of its operations the principles of fairness, integrity, and transparency in all its operations, and we are waiting to hear from our officials and the security agencies on the line of action to take. We are not familiar with these officers. Investigations are going on, and I believe that we are also calling on members of the public to present any evidence that they may have to the Commission and to the police. Once that is done, we would know the next line of action to take. But I think it's important to emphasize that the Commission would not shield any person, whether permanent or temporary staff, who is found to have violated the law, and I think it's important to put that on record.
Meanwhile, residents of the 9 districts that took part in Thursday's referendum have voted overwhelmingly in support of the creation of a new region. Announcing the result of the referendum, Western Region Returning Officer John Oscar Kinto indicated 388,233 out of 390,128 voted yes. The number represents 99.52% of the total number of votes cast.
We have collated the results of the referendum from the districts of the proposed Western North region. After the collation, we have these results. Total registered voters, 502,247. Total votes cast, 390,654. Yes vote, 389,003. No vote, 880. Rejected ballot, 769. Percentage turnout. We were required to have 50% turnout, and we had 77.78%.
Now, the people of Gonjaland in the northern region have voted 99.7% yes for the creation of the Savannah region. The votes recorded, according to many, have been due to the long desire of becoming an autonomous region.
The desire to be autonomous by Gonjaland dates decades, with several attempts to get a referendum proving futile. The opportunity to affirm that desire was offered on Thursday, December 27, 2018, in a referendum, an opportunity that will not be let to pass by. After hours of voting, the people of Gonjaland overwhelmingly voted yes. The returning officer of the Electoral Commission in West Gonja, Emmanuel Che, declared a total of 206,350 voted yes in the referendum in the 6 districts to form the Savannah region. The figure represents 99.7% of the total votes of 207,343 of a total voter turnout of 819,851. only 647 voters voted no to the creation of the region. District Chief Executive of the West Gonja District, Said Muhazu Jibril, spoke about the first priority of the Savannah region.
We know that we have water problem here in Damago, and for that matter, since this government came into power, we've been trying for 2 years now to push the agenda of our water. And I'm not surprised the water project has been captured in this 2019 budget.
And a later DCE attributed the 99.7% vote to the determination of the electorate in having a region. The Savannah region will consist of the West, North, Central, Solatuna, Kalba, Bole Bamboy district and the East Gonja municipality. All right, so you're still watching News 360 live from Adesa. We're here in Accra. Just to give you a sense of how people voted in all these 6 proposed regions. Let's start off with the Savannah region. And as you may be aware, the total number of registered voters is a little over 250,000. Voter turnout was a little over 200,000. That's representing 82% of people who turn out to vote. In terms of the yes or no vote, 206,350 people voted yes. That's representing 99.5%. That's way above the 80% required to vote for a region. Now, in terms of the Northeast region, in terms of total registered voters, we have over 250,000 people. Voter turnout, that's a little over 200,000, representing 81.5%. Now, in terms of the yes or no vote, over 200,000 people voted yes. That's signifying 99.6% of the vote. Let's move on to the other region now, which is the Bono East region. Registered voters, a little over 525,000 people registered to vote there, with a voter turnout of 450,000. A little over 450,000. That's representing an 86% of voter turnout. Now, in terms of the yes votes, we had a little over 440,000 people voting yes. That's representing 99.5%. Again, that's way above the 80% votes that's required. So again, to the Western North region, the registered voters, a little over 500,000 people registered to vote in that region. In terms of voter turnout, a little over 323,000 people, representing 65%. And then in terms of the yes votes, we had 322,048 people. That's representing 99.5% votes. And then in the Ahafo region, in terms of the registered voters, we had a little over 307,000 people registered to vote in that region. Voter turnout, 277,663. That's representing 90.4%. In terms of the yes vote, over 270,000 people voted yes. That's representing 99.7%. And then in the OT region, the very controversial OT region, in terms of registered voters, you have over 366,000 people registered to vote in the OT region. Voter turnout, we had in excess of 320,000 people. That's representing 88.3%. And then in terms of the yes vote, a little over 319,000 people voted yes. That's representing 98.6%. So that's how the people voted in all these 6 proposed regions. Mind you, you just require about 80% to 50% of voter turnout and then 80% to build these new regions.
Certainly, Parkwesi, really overwhelming yes votes for the creation of these 6 new regions. And we'll bring you a lot more on that here on TV3. Let's turn to some other stories this evening. As the 2016 NDC parliamentary candidate for Ayawaso West Wogon, Delali Kwesi Brimpong, has won the primaries to represent the party in the January 31 by-election. He beat off competition from 2 others, polling 415 votes to lead the NDC.
The Ayawaso West Wogon seat became vacant following the death of MP Emmanuel Tremating Ejakun in November. 3 individuals contested the NDC primaries. The 3 are Eko Akwa, Delali Kwesi Brimpong and Dona Selassie Agbo. At the end of voting, Delali Kwesi Brimpong polled 415 votes against 190 by Eko Akwa and 115 by Dona Selassie Agbo. In the 2016 parliamentary race, Emmanuel Tremating Ejaku polled 32,591 votes, representing 67.32%, to beat Delali Kwesi Brimpong of the NDC, who polled 22,534 votes, representing 39.63 points. So, what measures will he adopt to ensure he beats the NPP in the January 31 by-election?
This is an internal contest, and it's just the beginning of a process for 31st January. We all must come on board and take the seat for NDC once and forever.
The two defeated candidates pledged to support Delali Kwesi Brimpong recapture the seats from the NPP. NDC chairman for the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency, Bismarck Abodi Aite, was optimistic the NDC will recapture the seats from the NPP.
There is a saying that the voice of the people is the voice of God. The people have spoken. As a chairman, I appreciate and I respect your decision so much. We have got appropriate replacements, which we are going out there to trumpet. And I want everybody to come on board.
The ruling New Patriotic Party is yet to elect a candidate to represent the party in the by-election. The Electoral Commission has set Thursday, January 31, 2019, as the date for the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-election. The date was agreed upon at an emergency meeting of the Inter-Party Advisory Committee, IPAC, on Monday, December 24.
Away from election matters now, the Asante-Hene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II wants government to ensure no individual or group of persons undertakes any action likely to frustrate processes for lasting peace in Dagbon. While during a visit by the Andani royal family to the Mencha Palace in Kumasi, the Asante-Hene said he was happy about the progress made in the peace process. A report by my colleague Benjamin Edu.
The Andani royal family, including children of the late Yana Yakubu Andani, visited the Mencha Palace to announce the funeral arrangements to the Asante-Hene. The funeral of the late Yana will take place from January 4, 2019 as part of the roadmap for peace in Dagbon. The Asante-Hene Otumfuo Osei-Tutu II said the committee of eminent chiefs will not rest until the next Yana is installed.
The committee is not going to leave you. We shall still follow up so that if there's anything that we can do to have a lasting peace, we still will collaborate with the families to make sure that that peace is born.
The Asante-Hene maintained Dagbon is at peace because the decision taken by the committee was devoid of any political or personal influence, but based on tradition and custom.
Both Abudus and Danis are our children, and that is how we want it to be. We don't favor anyone, but the truth, the right thing to do, there were compromises. There were times that the Andanis had to give in when the custom was there. They interpreted it, but got to a point where they had to give in. The Abudus also had to give in at a point for us to arrive at where we arrived.
Chairman of the funeral committee, Na Muhammadu Bawa, expressed gratitude to the Asante-Hene for his intervention for peace to reign. He, however, reiterated the need for justice.
We are really very grateful that your committee has been able to broker the peace in Dagbon and getting in place the roadmap. Implementation of the roadmap has actually been with challenges, but both sides had to do a lot of compromises to be able to arrive at today's decision. So we are very grateful to government. I'm very grateful to your honorable committee for the yeoman's job done.
A son of the late Yana, Muhammad Al-Hassan Andani, also commended the Asante-Hene for his efforts to bring peace to Dagbon.
We are very much grateful to your efforts and the chiefs that supported you to bring out this important roadmap. We want to assure you that we will be committed to it, and whatever rule is expected of the children of the late Yana, as far as custom and traditions are concerned, we will be there to fully participate in that particular process.
You're watching News 360. Let's now turn to our MTN Vision reports this evening as our citizen journalist Mohammed Fahad reports from Setra East District in the Ashanti region.
This is where the pupils of Bima RC Primary School in the Setra East District normally defecate themselves. They are appealing to the government to come and construct a toilet facility for them. This is FAD, Bima, in the Setra East District.
Now, like Mohammed, you can also send to us your video report. You can do so via WhatsApp number. It's 055-1433-044. We've got a lot more coming up for you on News 360. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 360. Time now for our mission segment, which is brought to you by Star Ghana with support from UK Aid, Danida and the European Union. On mission this evening, we put focus on education as pupils at Madagascar, an island community in the Kweu-Afram Plains North District of the Eastern region, reports to school late each day. Stanley Niblo reports that the pupils are engaged on farms for close to 5 hours every morning by their parents before they are allowed to go to school.
It's a Thursday morning and the mission team is setting out from Donkokrom, the capital of the Kweu-Afram Plains North District, to Madagascar, one of the island settlements in the district. The team is covering about 45 kilometers, driving for an hour and 20 minutes through Widdy Path. It was our first time visiting Madagascar, and so locating the community was not easy. We eventually arrived in a nearby community. At this point, we have to leave our car behind and embark on a 20-minute voyage across the Volta Lake to Madagascar. Residents here, who are mainly fishermen and farmers, have migrated from Bato in the Volta region. Farming is still what they do here. Madagascar is fortunate to have a school, although not in good state, but it serves pupils from 4 scattered communities.
We are practicing multi-grade teaching. That is, P1 and 2 do stay with one teacher, just because the classrooms are not enough for them to accommodate all of them.
Not every pupil who attends school here is able to complete their primary education because education ends at class 4 due to inadequate teachers. In the midst of these challenges, the pupils are poised to receive education. Those who are eager to further their education leave the community to stay with their relatives in other communities. But their parents, who are uneducated, do not seek the best for them. Exploitation of pupils by parents is a common practice here at Madagascar. Classes, for instance, are supposed to start at 7:30 each morning, as directed by the Ghana Education Service. But that is not the situation at Madagascar.
Parents, they send their wards to the farm and they don't leave them on time to come to school on a scheduled time.
So the next day, the mission team went back to the community to ascertain the claims by the teachers.
It is 8:40 Friday morning and no one has reported to school. Classes, I'm told, start at 9:30 simply because the children who are supposed to fill this school are being used on farms each morning by their parents, and so they come to school very late.
At 9:21 a.m., nobody has still shown up, and so the mission team then traced some of the farmers who often exploit their children in the farms. Chili pepper is the commercial crop cultivated here, and so most parents use their children for more than 5 hours each school-going day for farming activities before they are released to go to school. Meet 13-year-old class 4 pupil, Ahule Mana. She lives with her elder brother, who is also married with children. Her quest for education is being dashed by the constant exploitation she's been exposed to. Mana has been doing this for 5 years, but her school needs have never been met.
The kind of farming activities I engage my sister in is not hazardous to affect her health and education.
Mana is leaving the farm at 10:30 to bath for school, but she was already tired. So what happened when she got home? Well, TV3 Mission would keep viewers updated in our next episode. Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Madagascar, Kweu Afram Plains North, Eastern Region.
A rather worrying development there, and Stanley Niblo will stay on that and bring you more on it in subsequent bulletins. And that does it for our mission segment this evening. It's brought to you by Star Ghana with support from UK Aid, Danida and the European Union. Coming up next on News360 is business.
All right, Natalie, thank you very much and welcome to the business news on News360. My name is Pa Kwesi Asare. Now, the National Insurance Commission has announced the introduction of the enhanced no-claims discount for third-party motor insurance. Well, this forms part of efforts aimed at addressing some of the challenges related to motor insurance. The enhanced no-claim discount directive takes effect on January 1, 2019.
In a statement issued by the Commission and signed by the Commissioner of Insurance, Justice Yao Ofori, said the directive will be applicable to new businesses written effective January 1, 2019. However, it does not apply to the renewal of businesses that existed prior to January 1, 2019, the statement noted. A breach of this directive, according to the statement, will attract a penalty of 20 times the premium that should have been charged. A motor insurance policy is legally mandatory if a person wants to drive on any road and not face penalties. The Motor Vehicles Act 1958 mandates every vehicle plying on Ghanaian roads to have at least a valid third-party liability policy.
We'll follow up on this story to get some more reactions to it. And in other news, UT and Capital banks were taken over by GCB Bank Limited due to insolvency. Then Consolidated Bank was formed out of the liquidated Unibank, Beige Construction, Sovereign and Royal Banks. According to Director of Business Operations at Dalex Finance and Leasing Company, Joe Jackson, the impact of the bank failures was harder on the non-bank financial institutions.
The banking sector cleanup cost government in excess of 12.7 billion cedis of public funds.
Outside the very top banks, things are dicey. Outside the very strong institutions, there are challenges. Unfortunately, despite the best intentions of the central bank, it seems like they have not been able to calm down the situation. And it's my fear is that it's going to get worse rather than better. The financial sector as a whole has a problem. The non-bank is in deep crisis because the non-banks are typically owned by Ghanaians, owner-managed, and so you find that all the things I've talked about are actually worse in the non-banks. And at the moment, only the strongest non-banks are surviving and are working well. So the non-banks have suffered worse than the general financial sector.
Well, that's all for the business segment on News360. Thanks very much for watching. For more business news stories, do log on to our website, www.3news.com. Now, patrons of the Accra edition of Talented Kids Fun Tour were thrilled by performances from DJ Switch and rapper Samuel Owusu, among other talents. The excited children were kept on their feet for hours at the Efuasa Land Park.
Efua Sutherland Park was the place to be as the Talented Kids Fun train made its second stop in Accra. Patrons flooded the park as early as 8 a.m. to have fun with the finalists and winners of Talented Kids.
Stay away!
Filled with lots of fun and excitement, the event brought together children from different schools who participated in various activities. Bouncy castles, face painting, among others, were the order of the day. The children danced and sang along as the performers mounted the stage to display. The stage was set ablaze when DJ Switch and Samuel Owusu, as well as other past Talented Kids winners, mounted the stage.
I want to say a very big thank you to the audience for coming, for coming to have fun also. I wanted them to feel the different side of me. I want to tell all Accra fans that they should get ready. They should buy their dancing shoes.
Marcy was my first time and Accra was like my third time here. Today's show is superb. It is fantastic, splendid.
Some patrons commended TV3 for the fun tour.
How has the day been for you two together?
Well, it's very good. They say the kids have about 3 months being in school, and then this really tight, at least they have to come and have some fun. And then thanks to TV3 and your crew for organizing this program. I think they should organize it and extend it to the other part of the country so that the kids over there also have a little feel about this program. I think it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
It's been all fun, and then we're having fun, running around and all that. Yeah. Which of the activities have you been part of?
The bouncy castle. We've been buying ice creams a lot, and then candies too. And I think it's been good.
Oh, it looks so exciting. Makes me almost want to be a child again.
Can you dance?
They can dance a lot better than I can.
Oh, what a shame.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we conclude here on NEWS360. My name is Parkus Yesare.
I'm Nasidi Force. Thanks so much for your time this evening. There's a lot more news on our website. It's 3news.com.